The doctor is in and I'm looking for a minor to text. What's going on, everybody? Look, it is the year of the big dick deviant, like Cat Williams said. The pedos are running loose and we are wrangling them in, allegedly. And the next one on this list is Dr. Disrespect. Now, we all know back in 2020, Dr. Disrespect, one of the biggest Twitch streamers out there, you know, getting sponsored by the NFL, making big appearances in mainstream media, got banned randomly around the pandemic time. It was crazy. Now, there was never given any reason for the banning at all. And apparently he didn't even know until he settled with Twitch behind closed doors in 2021, which was kind of skeptical, but hey, we move on. People get banned every day on that platform. Now, because he moved on to YouTube, people didn't think too much about this. He signed one of the more lucrative deals that YouTube was offering at the time, and people just were happy to see Dr. Disrespect again. It wasn't thought about as being such a bad thing. But over the weekend, a tweet had surfaced from an ex-Twitch employee that had us thinking, oh my gosh, this is a crazy huge story. This tweet reads, quote, "He got banned because he got caught sexting a minor and then existing Twitch Whispers product. He was trying to meet up with her at TwitchCon. The powers that be could read in plain text. Case closed, gang." Now, this is a very, very vague tweet. I mean, there's not even a real name here. There's a he, but I think a lot of people understood why this could be Dr. Disrespect because there were some weird things like from the past that were brought up that made people think that. Now, I will say this. There's some conversation about bringing this up now and not bringing it up then. Who knows? He could have been in some NDAs. He could have been asked not to talk about it, etc., for his livelihood. It was the pandemic. He was scared not to speak out. But I think I do have a problem when a known predator has been identified and we're not speaking about them publicly, because just because he leaves one platform and goes to the next doesn't mean that he doesn't have access to minors anymore. Now, this is all speculatory and it took the internet by storm. So some of the content creators and streamers on the platform had a bunch of working theories and questions that honestly needed to be answered. Two of the more pressing questions from this: why would Twitch have settled and paid out his contract if they had proof of wrongdoing? And then surely Cody has to prove otherwise. This is an easy lawsuit from Doc. Really bring us down another tweet that Hunter has that puts this all in perspective as to how potentially slimy Twitch is. Hunter writes, "Here's the big Dr. Disrespect theory, the only one that makes sense to me if it's true. Twitch would have only known this was happening if they were reading his private messages. So Twitch would have had to publicly disclose that they were monitoring users' private messages in order to outright have evidence of wrongdoing. So they settle in court for neither to talk about it because it would screw both sides. Doc never sent the messages, Twitch never read them." Now, usually NDAs don't expire for a couple years, so that potentially explains why Cody didn't speak about this, but there has to be some proof, and how they obtain the proof is very interesting. Now, we've all been caught with clicking on user agreements without ever saying anything about this, and ultimately that's how Dr. Disrespect could have got caught in these situations, which I'm not mad if they disclose what they are doing. If you don't read it, that's up to you. Maybe somebody should highlight it. There's people out there on the internet that read these things in totality. There's no way that I'm gonna sit here and rightfully cape for a potential predator. It's just not gonna happen on this channel. Now, what I do find weird is if people knew about these certain things beforehand, I would think that they would take their time to speak out about them. Not only am I talking about the employees that were working at Twitch at the time, but I'm also talking about Dan, the founder of Tiny Chat, who had these words to say about Dr. Disrespect.
But over 2-decade-long career, surely my word carries weight.
It's been a long time.
Please tell us.
Yeah, it's been a long
It's
time.
so long that the person involved is probably okay now.
My memory is really bad because this was like 2 years ago, and I was in Outpost buying a minicopter, and I remember someone saying Dr. Disrespect got banned from Twitch because he was messaging underage girls on Twitch.
Why he said that?
Wait, what?
That's not it.
We're about to learn all about the DMCA process now.
That's what I'm saying. What I heard in Rust.
Why did he say that? Why did he say that?
He must have heard it.
Am I not allowed to say what I heard in Rust?
Dan, that's insane.
His crew
what
on
you just
Rust
said.
is
That's
wild.
insane. If I'm the Doc, I'm suing you right now.
I would actually sue you.
Now, I do find it to be very weird that people hold on to these evidences or, you know, pieces that could piece the story together without, you know, potentially saying something and then saying something down the line. I find all that to be weird, especially when we have like Keemstar clipping up the stream and saying that he saw something and then changed his whole attitude and mood afterwards. That's strange too. But I will say that there has to be some sort of smoke in what's going on with Dr. Disrespect, because when Jake Lucky, the notable Twitch streamer journalist, tweeted about it, he follows up by saying, "Jake, seriously, I get it, it's a hot topic, but this has been settled. No wrongdoing was acknowledged and they paid out the whole contract." Now, again, there's some things to unpack there, because clearly if there's allegations of you sexting a minor, all you would have to say is, "Hey, I did not sext a minor." Wrongdoings is a very vague term that kind of questions a lot of things and raises alarms. But if he says that it's been settled, again, these are all allegations that I'm assuming more information will come out later on. We don't know yet. Even in the long version of his own acknowledgement of it. He's saying, I did not do anything wrong, but not specifically saying what was done here. I did not sext a minor. I think that there's something going on clearly, and the doc is not denying it, but it may not be to the severity that we're talking about, or, you know, letting these people's imaginations run wild, which is probably why you would want to come and just reel it back in.
This Dr. Disrespect story is absolutely infuriating, all right? An ex-Twitch employee comes out and says that he whispered and tried to make plans to meet up with a minor at TwitchCon. That is the allegation from the ex-Twitch employee. He's not responding to that. When he's saying, I did nothing wrong, he's referring to the settlement. He did a settlement with Twitch after suing Twitch, and Twitch countersued him, I believe, and they settled out of court agreeing with mutual statements that both parties did nothing wrong. That's a lawsuit. That doesn't represent what actually took place.
Never thought I would be agreeing with Keemstar, but he's absolutely correct there. Now, if only the story ended there, inserts all the Twitter pundits and think pieces, specifically the friends of the matter, because they do have to comment on these situations. Nick Merckx comes in, and we know Nick Merckx from the time that he said, you know, we got to leave the kids alone. We have to protect the kids in regards to the LGBTQ movement and stuff that Activision was doing when they removed his skin from Call of Duty. And he was honestly backed by Dr. Disrespect because they're naturally friends. So when you are friends with somebody who has a case, naturally the internet is gonna do what the internet does. They're gonna wanna know about you and your relationship with your mans because he got sex offender charges.
Yo, checking in. Look, I open Twitter. My mentions are he, they, she, hey, they. Fucking, I identify as a helicopter. And I seen a couple tweets about the doc. I'm as taken back as a lot of you guys are, okay? But the fact remains that these are some crazy accusations. Crazy, big time accusations. And until we know more, until we know them as fact, until they've been proven with evidence, what are we talking about? What's anybody talking about? As far as the leave the little kids alone stuff, this doesn't make it any further from the truth. Leave little children out of your shit. Have a nice day.
Well, Nick, that does not absolve the fact the doctor has a weird case, and why is he around?
That fuck him up.
And then Ava, formerly known as Chris from Mr. Beast, had to step in and put her 2 cents into the conversation about what was going on here, which caused Nick to crash out even more. Nick responds, "You should be ashamed of yourself leaving behind your wife and child to play pretend. One day you'll wake up and realize what you've done." Being the W friend that he is, Mr. Beast talks about how Ava will literally skip shoots and go spend time with, you know, the family and things of that nature, and that there's no need for this thing to be a rumor or whatever the case may be. Ultimately, this takes away from the main conversation of the potential weird case that Dr. Disrespect has going on. I always believe where there's smoke, there has to be a little bit of fire here, and we'll wait to see how things unravel themselves. Maybe people can look into the case files or whatever the case may be. But as we've seen this year in Hollywood and the entertainment industry, it is very commonplace for a lot of these famous people to be engaged with activities with minors. It's sick and it's disgusting to say, but that's the truth of the matter. I hate that we come to a day where, you know, people aren't protecting children, kids aren't being monitored with how they are talking to, you know, adults and stuff like that. And not to put the blame on the kids, because the real people that should be held accountable and should be talked about in the most disgusting light are the adults that are taking advantage of these situations. And we're talking about all this potential, but there's a lot of names involved this year. Drake, P. Diddy, now Dr. Disrespect, and I'm assuming that the list will go on and on and on. But let me know what you guys think. If there's any more developments, you best to believe we'll be right here. The doctor will be in.